Ecco aquí.
Hello, Life Beyond Sunday fam. How are you guys doing? I know they talk back to me. So one person told me this week that I mastered the introduction. That's what
that? Was
doesn't
that your
matter.
husband?
It was not my husband. It was not a family member. So, thank you very much for saying that. I feel really confident now walking into this space. Shayla today has a little bit of a, what shall we call it, limitation?
Yes.
Would you like to speak a whole full sentence into the mic so we can...
Well, it'll come and go.
Yes, she
I'm
has
going through
like
puberty.
Yes, like a teenage boy right now. It hits and then it, we have different phases.
Yes.
Yes. So, how you guys doing? Good.
Doing well.
All right. Excited? Just say
course.
yes. Of course
The
you
best
are.
week of
course.
TJ's life. I
Yes.
haven't had a voice.
Loves it.
It's amazing.
He got here early and we kicked him out and he was really disappointed. He was like, "Why
was.
can't I stay?" I was like, "We're not ready for you yet." Right? All right, so this week we're going to be talking about a topic that actually came up in an organic conversation that we were having a couple of weeks ago. So for the people who do not know, I have a job that isn't this. And
It's unbelievable. You have a real job.
I do have a real job. I know people think that I do this full time, but no, I don't know. I'm kidding. So I had just come back from a business trip from Asia, and we were talking about it, and we were talking about how we handle certain situations in the workplace, and when it kind of intersects with our faith. And I thought, that would be interesting because I go through these questions all the time. And so what is it? I wonder if other people kind of go through this too. So I think, today we're going to kind of explore that faith in the workplace, how we manage those situations that maybe are uncomfortable or anything like that. And I think it's very relevant to what we live today. So just basically to start, what do you guys think it looks like to authentically live out your faith when it comes to a secular workplace environment? Most people are not in ministry jobs and they're Christians and they actually go to a place of business, or even if you're a stay-at-home mom, you're dealing with situations that you're not always inside a church or inside a Christian group. So what does it look like to authentically live out your faith in like a business environment?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just say this. I think that you are in ministry, in the workplace, in the moms group, in all those environments. I don't think ministry is you work at church. I think ministry happens all over the place. So let's not say you're not in ministry because you are. And I think that your faith should play out everywhere. Most people, there's a famous quote that says, most people will never read the Bible, but they're going to read the Christian. Yeah. And so they're reading us all the time. And what is our life? What is our life communicating? What is our life preaching? What is our life saying? How authentic is our faith when it comes to our everyday life? And I think that it's actually one of the greatest opportunities to look and share Jesus to people without even telling them. St. Francis of Assisi said, preach the gospel always, and if necessary, use words. So your life is speaking. And so you've got to recognize, no matter where I'm at, whether I'm at the grocery store, whether I'm at the gas station pumping my gas, whether I'm at the corner of University and the sawgrass and the lady is there that is a gypsy that's trying to ask me for money. My life is preaching in every single one of those moments. And what is it saying? And so I think we've just got to be cognizant and aware that our faith doesn't, I leave my faith at the doors of the church on Sunday morning when I'm walking out. No. They go with it. My faith goes with me everywhere.
Yeah. Do you agree?
Yeah, I'll say for me, moving to South Florida was the first time I ever worked in an actual Christian environment. I always worked in, for lack of a better word, the secular world. And people always knew about my faith, not because I was there preaching to everybody or sharing about it all the time, but it was about how they knew I went to church, because I'd be like, oh, I'm going to church this weekend, whatever. And the crazy part was, I wouldn't engage in the, swear words weren't coming out of my mouth. I wasn't, living like everybody else was. But do you know that people would actually because they knew I was different and I was kind and I was loving and I wasn't going to sit there and preach at them in their bad situation. When they walked through something, they were actually in my office going, hey, I know you have faith. Can you pray for me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it wasn't because I was preaching to them. It was just simply because that was part of my everyday life. I'm not one way when I come to church and then a different way. Like, I'm the same person as an employee at the church as I was in a secular environment.
Mm-hmm.
I live that out the same way.
Yeah.
So I don't think that changes or that it should change.
Yeah. So how would you say that you kind of share, you talked a little bit about it, but how do you share your faith without coming off as judgmental or preachy? Or how do you speak up for yourself when you find yourself in a situation that maybe, I don't know, how do you do that without being like, well, I'm a Christian, so I don't swear, how does that happen?
I don't think you ever say that. That sounds very judgy.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm a Christian, so I don't drink. I'm a Christian, so I don't swear. No, I just don't do that. I don't have to say I don't do it. You just don't hear those words coming out of my mouth. If, there's lots of different scenarios that we could go into, but I think it's not that you're saying you don't, you just don't.
Yeah.
I have a good friend who had told me, he's like, man, I bring scripture into everything. I just don't bring it in a way that they know it's scripture.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He would go, man, a wise man once said, and he would quote a proverb, and everybody would, when you hear a proverb, you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. We don't have to tell them it's from the Bible. A wise man did once say that. His name was Solomon,
Yeah.
so
Jesus.
Or Jesus. And so there's a lot of ways you can integrate your faith without coming off as I'm this pushy Christian person. No, this is just stuff that's inside of me that I live by. Like, hey, I live a principled life. And so like, I live a disciplined life. There's lots of things you can say that says like, hey, I just have some standards that are different than yours. And people appreciate people that have high standards. In fact, most people are jealous of people that have high standards.
I think sometimes too, your work ethic matters.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're like, if you are somebody that doesn't follow through, you're somebody that's always late, you're somebody that like all of that, the respect level of people goes down. And so if you really want to model and be attractive in your lifestyle and want people to look at you and go, hey, I want that, then you have to live a life worthy of that.
Yeah.
And some of that comes across, like my bosses always loved me because they knew that I was going to get whatever I said done, I was going to get it done. And again, they would be the ones coming to me sometimes going, hey, we pray for this for you, because they knew they could trust me. I was kind, I'm not in there having the crude conversations. It's just, some of it's, again, not what you say,
but
how you live.
Yeah. And consistency.
How about you?
I'm getting all the advice here right now and trying to implement it. But one of the things that we talked about, and I'm going to be a little vulnerable here with my own situation, is one of the things we talked about is I actually come from a very male-dominated industry, very male-dominated. I travel quite a bit for work, and I was overseas, and that in Asia, and that culture has a very specific way of doing business. Is that the best way to put it?
I mean,
you want to talk about it? I'm
let's
scared
just
of
be
saying
honest.
something wrong.
I'll be honest because I've spent time over there. Their idea of doing business is let's get drunk and let's go to strip clubs. And so, our conversation was like, Kelly, how does that work with you going over there? Because you're not the person like it. I'm thinking about how they work over there, and I'm going, man, it's an interesting
I'm really
choice.
glad you know that I'm not the one going to strip clubs.
I was like, I'm guessing they're not making that invitation to you. And you were like, well, actually, not about the strip club, but we're at dinner and drinking is part of the deal over there.
Yes.
And we were having that conversation.
Yes. Which is a great segue, because that's my question, right? There's actually a joke, or not a joke, but there's like, hey, all the real business happens in between the lines. We say that, like, it happens outside of the spreadsheet.
Yeah.
It happens at a dinner. It happens at these situations. And yes, overseas, it is expected that is something that you're going to do. So I guess, how do you handle those situations? I think, how would you suggest somebody that's in my position to handle those situations? Like, when you're confronted with that, first of all, is drinking wrong?
I mean, drinking is wrong if it's a problem for you.
Okay.
So the Bible doesn't say drink. The Bible says being drunk is wrong.
Yes.
So, but having a drink, nowhere in Scripture does it say wrong. It's wrong. So let's just settle that. But I think that you got to be cognizant of the people that are around you. And so in an environment like that, that this is a problem for those people. That's the reality. I've been in enough business situations to know, this is an issue for these people. So if I'm toned down, I will tone them all down. And so, like, my standards are like, help set the tone for the room. And I can shift the tone of the room. And so I think that that's part of leadership, is you taking a stand or a step for what you believe and not shoving it down anybody's throat, but just going, hey, guys, hey, I don't drink, or I'm not going to drink tonight.
Yeah.
Or gals in your situation, the one gal, and just making, and people will go, they might pressure you. And that's what we were talking about, the pressure, because they all, in that environment, they just want to keep going. And you actually had to say, like, hey, I've made a kind of a vow to God in this season that I'm seeking him for, and people respected that.
Yeah.
And so I think what a lot of Christians don't realize is that when you take a stand for your faith because it's something you believe in, people actually respect you more because you're willing to stand for something, when so few of people are willing to stand for anything that they believe in.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you agree?
No,
she was like, I don't want to talk.
Absolutely not.
She's like, I think you should throw it back and get lit. And okay.
I think about it sometimes, like, if you were an addict that had come out of recovery and you'd been clean for 25 years and you're in that industry, you don't have any problem saying, oh, I'm so sorry, that's not something that is part of my life. Like, there's nothing wrong with setting the standard based on your own personal values or the things that you feel like need to be protected in your life outside of just being a Christian.
Yeah. What are some boundaries, other boundaries that you think are like good to set? Are there any that you
in your work? Like, I think your relationships with the opposite sex, there needs to be some boundaries in, like what is okay and what is inappropriate, and you set that line way ahead of time so that way you don't ever cross it. Because that's how people end up in compromising situations. They never set a boundary and they end up way over here, and then they're going, oh man, how did I end up here? Well, I never gave myself some parameters.
Right.
And so I think that would be one thing, and that just, here's how I'm going to live. Here are the words that I'm not going to use. Here's just some decisions I'm making that I don't have to make public to everybody else, but these are my boundaries. These are my limits.
Yeah.
My pastor used to always say, you don't make a decision to not have sex when you're in the back seat of the car. You make that before you ever go on the date. Yeah. And so I think that same principle is true in your work life. Hey, here's how I want to live. This is how I want to act. These are the things I'm going to decide it. Pre-decide I'm not doing.
Yeah. I mean, Kelly, you live this every day. What are some of the things that you've put in place that, that you've seen play out well?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm still learning, right? There are things, but I think that I overcompensate. Maybe that's the wrong word, but I overcompensate in my knowledge or my preparedness or my so that people will never question why I'm there, even when I'm setting boundaries or when I'm at a business dinner in Asia and I'm not going to engage in that moment. with the alcohol, but at least you
can respect
you're
who
going to
I am,
respect
right.
that I know what I'm doing here. You know,
Yes.
you even made a joke. You're like, I'm surprised they send you. And I joked back. I was like, I'm just that good at my job, right? And I don't know if that's true or not.
true.
But the reality is they send me because I'm the most prepared person to deal with that situation in that moment, and no one can step into those shoes. And I'm not saying that to like glorify myself, but no, I like if they had a male option to send, they probably would have gone with it. But the fact is, I'm the one that's there because I've earned
You're the
that
closer.
role. Yes, I'm the closer. So I think that's one thing that I'm always like, I think work ethic. I'm going to bring a stronger work ethic. I'm going to be more prepared. I'm going to be like in the right place. And I
You
go in
earn
with
respect.
yes.
Well, not only that, but just because I know your story, I mean, you started off in a low level position in a company, and you have basically worked your way up to where you're on the executive team. You know, you could probably run the company if you wanted to because of work ethic, and you've lived by values.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that that's the thing that people fail to realize, Christians especially, is like, oh, I'm going to play by their rules so I can move up in their system. No. It's when you stand outside of the rules and you have a higher standard that people go, man, that's the kind of person I want to follow.
Yeah.
That's the person I want to lead me. And if you're just like everybody else, why would anybody want to follow you?
Yeah. And I think some other things too is like in the beginning I was afraid like, oh, how do I talk about, because like men will travel alone and I'm not going to travel alone. So how do I have this conversation about, hey, I'm not going to travel alone? Those conversations are much better accepted than we usually think that they are. And so even when I travel alone to go to Asia or something, I'm meeting someone there. So I'm there on my travel time, but I'm meeting someone there, someone I know, someone I trust, someone that I've worked with for years. And we're going to do everything together, and we're separating when I'm leaving. We're staying at the same hotel. We're traveling in the same car. We're going to all the same meetings. And I think, and that's true wherever I go in here, I'm like, okay, this is, I'm always going to bring somebody with me. I'm also very intentional about, I've worked at the same company for a long time. My company allows this, but I'm very intentional about my husband meeting the people that I work with. I think that that's very important. So Mauricio knows every major player.
Well, let's be honest. Mauricio's a big guy. Like
that's why I make sure they
see that. So in case they mess with you, they know that something bad's going to happen to them.
Exactly right.
You're getting mowed.
Yeah, you're getting mowed. That's a good one. You like that one? He's in here right now. You're getting mowed.
He's smiling.
He's like, yeah, they are. Yeah, they are.
I'm going to get him a cup.
I got mowed.
I got a cup that actually says God's favorite on it, and I was going to show it because my Freedom group got it for me, and Shayla was like, that's not going to read well.
Yeah.
I did not say that.
No, she didn't say that. She was just like, it's very loud and obnoxious, actually, was what it said.
I didn't say that either, but...
Who was that? Who said that? Was it you,
Aren't
Kim?
we talking about ethics? And
yes, we are talking about ethics.
You keep
It was
lying.
Kim. It was Kim. Wait, not lying. Lying is a strong word, Shayla.
Bending the truth?
Bending the truth, maybe. Embellishing.
Embellishing.
Let's go with embellishing.
That's still in lying, but that's okay.
Okay, fair enough. Anyways, see, now I'm getting called out, even though I was on a roll. Okay, so where was I? I think about the thing. Yes, Mao knows people. I think the other thing too is like, I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully, no one gets in trouble for this. It's not that I don't drink alcohol. So I don't work for the church, so I'm just saying, so it's not that I don't drink alcohol too. I think it's important for people to know, not for people to know, but I choose, but I know it's okay to choose what settings I'm comfortable doing that and not doing that and saying, hey, this is not a setting I want to engage in. Yeah. Right. I think that's important, and making sure no one ever sees you wasted, because that's horrible.
Well, that going back to the Bible, you know, if you're drunk, that is you're crossing the line.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And when you talk about pre-deciding, is there something else that you think is important for people to pre-decide in terms of boundaries or maintaining your faith in the workplace that maybe we haven't talked about? I mean, I mentioned a few of my boundaries regarding travel, but is there something else that you think, maybe a male-female dynamic or something?
I mean, I think that's part of the boundaries, like having just solid it's the same thing, having that solid communication of like, hey, here's what's acceptable, here's what's not. Are you comfortable with this? Are you not comfortable with this? And making sure that that's there. But we live in such, and this is just wisdom, we live in such a sue-happy, accusation-happy society. Like, you just don't want to put yourself in a situation where anybody could even say something and somebody could possibly go, oh, I could see that.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't ever put yourself in that situation, you don't ever have to worry about that accusation.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's wisdom today.
Yeah.
That I don't know that I have anything to add to it.
What do you guys think of? So I've had to fire people. Okay. I hate it. It's like horrible, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. How do you guys feel about that in like how does that intersect with faith? How does that intersect with like biblical standards? What advice would you have for that?
I mean, I think you and I have had this conversation, especially when you were walking through a season where you had to fire somebody, And I think as a believer, as a Christian who lives that out, like, you care for people well. Regardless. Yes, you have to make some hard decisions. You might not be able, there are certain things that you're limited in your company, but you as a person can care for the heart of the person. And so I think there's things in that space where you the way that you approach it can be firm, but also loving and generous of heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other part of that is like, every time there's an employee issue, you first have to say, man, what have I not done to help them be successful?
Yes.
And what have I not equipped them with? And if I've done those things and I've given them improvement plans and all those things, and they've not fulfilled those things, then at some point,
that's their decision.
Those are their decisions, not your decisions, because I've done everything that I know how to possibly do. So like, I feel like that's a lot of grace. That's a lot of mercy to do that. Then I'm releasing them to their greater potential. Their greater potential just doesn't happen to be here.
It's laying on the couch. No.
Well, it's
maybe
it's doing something different, because obviously this was not the right environment for them to be able to excel and become the man or the woman that God's called them to be.
Yeah.
And so maybe they need somebody that's a different kind of leader. Maybe they need a different kind of environment that isn't as familiar, whatever it may be, so that they can figure out how to be successful. And sometimes, honestly, people just have to hit rock bottom before they look up and find out that there has to be a different way of living.
Yeah.
I mean, we say around here a lot that clear is kind. And I think one of the kindest things that you can do for people is, in the process, not be frustrated by what they're not doing, but actually talk them, like TJ's talking about, talk them through a process. Like, hey, here's where we're missing it and the things that need to be adjusted, because that makes that end conversation, if you have to release them, so much easier. Like, hey, we've been talking about this over the last however long, and there's clarity that's associated with that, rather than a building frustration to the point you're just releasing someone.
Yeah.
Which is how most organizations work.
Yeah.
There's internal frustration that's never been communicated to that employee. Then they're caught off guard. Like, when you let somebody go, they should never be caught off guard.
I
It should
agree.
be like,
Yeah.
I saw this
saw that
coming.
coming.
We've been
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
Like,
this.
we've been talking. So like,
Right.
if somebody is shocked by it, they're either completely unaware, or most likely you didn't do a good job of communicating as a leader.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important thing as a leader to do.
Walk people through a situation, you mean, or fire them? Both.
Both. I think like, you do the hard work on the front end.
Yeah.
Like, that's the part of being in the marketplace or in any leadership position. I think that people don't realize is, like, if you want to have people underneath of you, you've got to be willing to do the hard work to walk them through.
As a leader, you have to lead.
You have to lead. You can't just expect. You got to lead, and you've got to teach, and you've got to equip, and you've got to empower. And a lot of people are just like, well, I don't want to do that. I just want somebody that gets it. Well, those are unicorns. Those don't come around very often. So like, you're gonna have to do the hard work to help develop that person into what you need them to be.
I think about Jesus, when he's walking with the disciples through stuff, and he's constantly teaching them and instructing them and doing all, and there's times where he's like, how long do I have to be around you idiots? You know,
Yeah.
like this is ridiculous. You're not getting it. We just had this conversation. He didn't fire any of them.
He probably
Was
wanted
one of-
to. He
One of them
probably-
self-eliminated.
Yeah.
Was that a bad comment? That
I
was
think you have
It's
to
okay.
constantly be teaching and evaluating and whatever, so that at the end it doesn't feel so
Shocking.
dismissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hard because, like, you know, in the situation we talked about, it was somebody that, like, they weren't shocked, right? We had been
Yes.
working through it for a while, but you know they're in a tough spot in their
Yep.
personal life. But at the same time, it's like now I'm costing, you know, the company something, and so you
Yep.
juggle those two things. It's like, man, I understand where you are personally, but at this point, it's been a while, and at the end of the day, you're still expected to show up and do your job, and there's a limit to like grace and mercy, or else you start
Well, the other thing is when that person slacks, who has to pick up that slack?
Yeah.
You do.
yeah.
So
Or
like,
you just either that, or now you lose the business and you're costing the person who's employing you something too,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, wow, I'm responsible for this result.
Well, and I have actually been paying you to do something that you really haven't been doing.
Yeah.
So
It's it's a tough situation. But I agree that if they're surprised, you probably did something wrong on the front end, right? That's actually something I had to learn and walk through because I wasn't the best at always saying, "Hey, you're falling short." Now I'm very direct and I'm clear as kind. I'm like, I learned, you know, let me tell you where you're at, and
Shayla's favorite line.
I mean, but that doesn't mean you just go around telling everybody, I think you suck at this and that. What, you know, like, no.
oh darn, that's kind of my method.
That'll be another podcast.
Yeah, that'll be another
But
podcast.
ultimately, faith in the workplace, I do feel like, is so much about how you show up and perform, because that tells something. How much you live out your values, essentially. Again, it's not everything that you always have to say. You don't have to sit there and preach and talk about God and the church and all those. Now you can.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's much more about how you live your life and people seeing that.
The third part of that is I think it's how much you care for the people around
Yes.
you. You know, if you would just genuinely listen to people,
Yep.
you'd find out so much
Yep.
about what's going on in their
Yep.
life. And if you just care in that moment, like think about how many times you walk into a place and flippantly say, "Hey, how's it going?" But you don't really care how is
No.
it going.
Right.
Like you just want the rhetorical, "Oh, it's fine," you know, and then you walk away. But if you were to stop in the workplace and go, "Why is it just fine?"
Yeah.
Like you'd be amazed at the conversations that you would have, and people would go like, "Oh man, that person genuinely cares,"
Right.
and you have no idea the amount of faith conversations you would end up
Yes.
having like that.
So true.
That they don't even know is a faith conversation.
Yep.
It's just you're planting seeds, and that's what you got to remember is that a lot of our Christian life is us planting seeds in people's lives. You know, it says Paul planted and Apollos watered, but God's the one who makes it grow. And so if we're planting and we're watering all the time, then we're making a difference in people's lives. Even though we might not
Right.
visibly see it, we are doing something in the process of the story that God is trying to write in their life. And I think that if we can understand that we play a part in a lot of people's stories in different ways and at different levels, then we would realize that every interaction, every conversation, you know, every moment, man, this is a moment that I'm planting seeds. Like, what am I planting? Am I
Right.
planting life? Am I planting death?
Yep.
Is that how you share the gospel then? Like have you ever prayed with somebody in the workplace that
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
like, you're like, hey, let me pray with you. Like, yeah. And is that how you kind of share the gospel? Just like having like conversations and you're not like Jesus died for your sins?
I was at a coffee shop the other day and I asked the rhetorical, "Hey, how's it going?" It's all right. Why is it just all right? Started a conversation. Literally, ladies like, "Oh, my mom's got cancer. Can we pray for your mom right now?" I found that virtually nobody will turn
Right.
down prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like I've never had somebody, "No, please don't pray for me."
Yep.
Yeah.
Every single person's like, "Man, yes." So why would you not offer to give them something that every person will accept?
Yeah.
I'm not praying for salvation. I'm just praying for whatever your need is
Yep.
in life.
Yep.
And right there, I didn't say I'm a Christian, but they just found out that there is a deeper faith that's in me. They don't know what that's. I mean, they
Yep.
would get it by the prayer probably, but but they found out that there's something more inside of me that they didn't know was
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Did you tip at the coffee shop?
Always. I don't like it that I have to tip at the coffee shop because I feel like I'm walking up there, I'm ordering, I'm walking back up there to get the coffee.
I have a moral dilemma with this.
Yes, it's tough.
It is, but it's just like I live generously.
Yep.
And so I'm just choosing to be, even though I don't like it, I'm leaving them that $1.
See, I do it, but then when that little thing
$1 at a coffee shop. Don't hate on me.
No,
Support people right there.
If you're standing up to get your own food and you're carrying it away, I don't understand the tip thing. I'm sorry. I know that this might be a sensitive topic.
This is a COVID thing that just continues.
We need to cut it out. At least bring me my coffee. Like, give me a sign that I have a number on, and then you bring it to me. Then I'll give you $1.
What's worse than that is we went to a restaurant in Miami, and there was a 20% charge for benefits for employees on our ticket.
And
plus
then they wanted you to
Plus,
tip.
they wanted you to tip.
Okay, what restaurant?
So you're supposed to give 40% of my bill?
I was like, I looked at Shayla. I was like, I honestly don't know what to do right now. Like,
I think we were just like, this is the tip.
No, I did leave leave a little bit of it, but I was like,
are we allowed to know the restaurant?
I don't even remember what it was.
I feel like we deserve a warning if it's going to be 40% more than our bill.
I could look it up for you after.
It was a shocking moment of like, wow, they're really taking advantage of me right now because nowhere on their website or anything
ever coming back here, no matter how good it was.
Yeah, because what are you supposed to do at the end?
It was good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's great.
So it was good plus 40%.
Really cool environment.
You guys were probably ordering like, these prices are amazing, and then at the end they were like,
no, the prices were
not amazing.
They know the restaurant, they just won't share.
It was on
I will
South Beach.
get the name and bring it back to the people. The people want to know, I promise.
Okay.
What people? The 3 people that watch the podcast?
You guys have to go up to them.
Guys, we're rogue.
No, you guys, we're rogue. This is what people tune in for. Forget the real this is the meat of it. You guys need to go up to them and tell them how amazing this thing is. Like every week, please do it. I'm sending you. You guys showed up last time. All right, Shayla looks, actually, I'm not going to say you look irritated because you told me I was lying. So I'm not going to. Okay. Any final thoughts or things that we may not have discussed about faith in the workplace that you're like, hey, I want to leave you with this tidbit?
Again, I go back and I just say, man, hey, listen, you are in marketplace ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So treat every day like that is your congregation.
Yeah.
And how, like, because people, you want to be cared for a certain way, will extend that same care to the people that are around you.
Yeah. Agreed. I think I'll also say too, and I'm sure you guys agree with this, is like God.
No, we don't.
I don't.
Yeah, you do. You will watch this weekend. God honors like when we honor Him, and so I think, and I don't know that I've always like when we situation notice honor of of God. I think that attitude gets honored. So sometimes we feel like, man, I should be going to this place, or I should be having this drink, or I should be saying this, or I should be in this environment. And you say no for whatever reason of faith. I think that sometimes is hard. You're like, am I going to miss out on something? Or I've felt that way a lot. And I do think that like God honors that later. I don't know when, but He will honor it at some point. Yeah. See, you agreed?
Yeah.
That was good. See? TJ agreed with me. Okay. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Don't forget to subscribe or like wherever you listen to podcasts, and we will see you next month.